Hello and welcome back to the Glitz and Gold channel. How are you all doing? Happy New Year! Yeah, it's been a while, I know. December was a busy time for me, what can I say? I think I pretty much said this last year, but December is usually a pretty busy time for me because I work in hospitality. But New Year's resolutions, we're gonna get more out this year, I promise you that. Don't make promises you can't keep. So as you can see, the princess crown is back, because we haven't finished our ranking video yet and I'm excited to get back to it. So today is part 2 of ranking Disney princess films. So if you want to watch part 1, I will leave a link up here and I'll leave a link down in the description. What's the point in watching part 2 if you haven't watched part 1? Am I right? So yeah, shall we just get right into it? Right, so I think where we left off was number 8, which was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and we are going to get into number 7. Just a recap on how we are rating these films. So we've got characters, story, songs, and how much I actually like the princess, which will give us an overall score, and every score is out of 10. So number 7 is Princess and the Frog. Wowee, let's get into it. So we start off with Tiana as a kid, and we think she's part of like this big old mansion and she has loads of money because she's hanging out with Lottie LaBeouf. But no, she is from a little house, little town, but all she needs is her parents and her love and cooking. We love a cooking film from the Disney/Pixar franchise, including Ratatouille, one of my favourite films. I just watched it recently, slay. Down in New Orleans is a very catchy song and I'm always bobbing to it when it comes on. Do do do. We see her grafting. She's a working girl and she's very slay. She's always on top of what she needs to do, but unfortunately she doesn't give enough time to have a bit of fun. But we see that she's grafting this hard for her new restaurant, which hopefully she's bought. The art style for Almost There. I love it when they incorporate different art styles in one film. I think it's pretty great. I honestly love the difference between Tiana and Naveen. They're very much opposites attract trope, and I am here for it. Tiana works too hard and never has time for other sides of life, whereas Naveen has too much fun and never has had a hard working day in his life. So we see Naveen, he's going through New Orleans and he's like, ah, the music, slay. I need to stop saying slay. He's a prince that's broke because he's been cut off by the family, but all he cares about is the music, the rhythm, the dancing, all of that good stuff. But he then runs into the Shadow Man. I like Friends on the Other Side. It's not the best villain song that Disney has produced, let's just be real. But I also kind of like that we don't really see the full deception of Facilier until like nearer the end of the song. I feel like that's quite fun, especially with the tarot cards, because you think with Naveen's tarot card reading, he's gonna get loads of money in his future because he says, it's the green you need. And in the future, it's the green that I see. But no, it's not green as in money. He's going to be turned into a frog. That is just a bit rude, Facilier. I'm on to you. Lottie is your typical rich brat that's self-centered, but she's not snobby when it comes to her friends. And then the other two songs, which I think are just alright, they're not obviously my favourite ones, is When I'm Human and Going Down the Bayou. It still keeps up with like the theme of the film, which is set in New Orleans. I don't know why I said it like that, but hell, it's been a while. The hunter scene is typical slapstick comedy, but shows Tiana and Naveen's teamwork and progression with each other's relationship. I'm gonna say it, I don't really care for Louis or Ray that much. They're just basically side piece. It makes them sound like they're whores or something. I mean, they're just typical side characters. They're just there for like a quick laugh and everything. Louis is an alligator that wants to play the trumpet, and Ray is a firefly that thinks a star is his. Spoiler alert, it actually is. I'm not really that bothered about these side characters. I would have preferred the protagonists to progress by themselves, because I think it would be very hard for human frogs to be meandering through like a swamp and the bayou to try and get back to New Orleans city centre, but they get a few handouts and everything. As much as I don't care about Ray's fantasy with Evangeline, the song Evangeline slaps. It's very cute, and we get to see a little dance moment between Naveen and Tiana, which is also really great. Dig a Little Deeper is also a fun song. But the whole scene with Mama Odie is pointless because she tells them how to become human again, but it's the same way as the book shows them at the beginning. But then again, they did try that near the beginning, and it just turned Tiana into a frog because there was like a misunderstanding that Tiana was a princess, but it was just a costume party. So Naveen is actually a bit stupid and should have asked, are you actually a princess? Tiana would have said no. He would have just gone, find a princess, kissed her. End of movie. The scene with Mama Odie is kind of pointless, but at the same time it also kind of works for the plot. The boat scene is cute. Naveen is digging deeper to see he wants Tiana, but she is still on her restaurant mindset. So he set this proposal aside to promise Tiana her biggest wish in life. Tiana realizes what is important when she nearly makes a deal with the Shadow Man. Facilier gets what he deserves, and Tiana and Naveen stay frogs since they have what they need, which is each other. But they become married as frogs, turning Tiana into a princess, so when they kiss, they turn back into humans. So they just needed each other, they needed a bit of time, they needed a bit of romance. All turned out well in the end. And so that's all my notes on Princess and the Frog. So we're gonna get down to the nitty and the gritty. So, characters, 7 out of 10. Would have been higher if there wasn't a freaking alligator and a firefly. Story is 6 out of 10. Story is a 6 out of 10. I like the dig a little deeper type of theme towards like the second half of the film. But just like the little itty bits in between where they're just, you know, singing about what they're going to do if they're going to become human, and it doesn't work for me. Songs is also a 6 out of 10 just because there's just a mix of really good songs and a mix of alright songs. I really like Tiana, so the PL score is an 8 out of 10, which gives a final score of 6.75 out of 10. So that is Princess and the Frog. Slay. Can you let me know down in the comments if the amount of times I say slay is okay or if it's diabolical? Because I honestly think it's diabolical and I really need to get it out of my vocabulary, but I don't know how to do that. So maybe I need to go to therapy just for the word slay. I'm not doing anything inconspicuous, I'm just drinking from my massive ass 2-litre bottle. Because if you've learned anything from the Glitz and Gore channel, it is to hydrate yourself. I'm gonna need a piss in the middle of this video, I can already tell. So we are on to number 6, and number 6 is Aladdin. Jasmine might be hard to rank in terms of the princesses overall, because even though she is a certified Disney princess, she's not the main protagonist in her story. Her main goal in the film is not the main plot. She was just more part of Aladdin's main goal, which is the main protagonist and the main focal of the story and the plot. She's basically just like a plot device. So let's get on to the first thing that we see, which is the song Arabian Nights. I can't sing, please don't make me sing again. You didn't make me sing. I did that on my own. I'm putting myself out there. Whatever. It's an okay opening song. I kind of like it. I will say Diago is funny. Diago. I think he's just like, I never expect a character to be so whiny with such a low tone, so I just think that's really funny. He's just an angry little parrot, and I'm here for it. One Jump is incredibly catchy. One jump, hit a star. And at the end of the chase scene, while he's singing the song, Aladdin gives up the bread, showing he is a thief, but still has good morals. He's basically Robin Hood, but in Agrabah. We do see Jasmine has a mind of her own. And her goal is to have independence and not be married off to someone she doesn't love. She wants to marry for love. She doesn't want to marry just for the sake of it and because she's a princess and blah. Jafar may have a basic intention, which is to take over as Sultan, But that doesn't stop him from being a good villain. He is evil. I need to hydrate myself again. The magic carpet has so much personality despite not talking or even having a face. Anthropomorphic talking things sometimes gets a bit boring. So when you have a rug that flies, doesn't have a face, doesn't talk, but still has so much personality in him, that was a good move, Disney animators. I am so glad you didn't give that rug a face. Some of the CG live shots that we get in the Cave of Wonders escape scene were clearly cool for its time, but watching it in 2025/2026, it doesn't really hold up that much. Obviously the standout is Genie, played by the late Robin Williams. I miss you, King. He was so good though. He's so animated for animated films, and he's so animated for a live action film as well. I should have put Robin Williams in my ranking non-British actors doing British accents, because he does a Scottish accent for Mrs. Doubtfire. There's no one else like him. I'm gonna be completely honest, there is no one else like Robin Williams, and you cannot test me on that. Honestly, the song Friend Like Me is not my favourite song, but it still has a lot of charm and personality. I also like how Jafar is like this evil, nasty, tall, grotty villain, but Jasmine sees right through him. That's my girl Jasmine. She's like, I am not having anything of this matter, you can piss off. And sorry, just going back to Friend Like Me, and I think it's also in the song Prince Ali, there's just throughout this whole film, there's so many like pop culture references which I just can't get behind. It just makes me feel like Aladdin was set in a dystopia future where there was like an apocalypse or something, and because it feels like it's set like thousands of years ago, but it feels like it's also set in a dystopian apocalypse where all these pop culture references has already happened. It makes no sense, and I don't think it was completely necessary. I know most of the pop culture references was from the genie, and because he's like all mystical and magical. Good song, by the way, Benson Boone. And like I said, Prince Ali is a good song minus the pop culture references. And A Whole New World deserves its praise. You've heard it here first. A Whole New World slaps. Honestly, hot take, hear me out. I don't honestly think Jasmine and Aladdin would have ended up being together if it wasn't for Aladdin saving everyone at the end. If he didn't save everyone at the end, someone else did or something like that, it just all turned out fine in the end without Aladdin saving everyone. I don't think they would end up together, because Jasmine would be like, well, you're just a liar. So I critiqued the theme of trust in my Raya and the Last Dragon hot take. There's also like trust components in Aladdin, and even though Aladdin is a lion straight rat, I honestly feel like the trust theme does better in Aladdin than Raya and the Last Dragon. If you want to watch a Disney film about trust, watch Aladdin, not Raya and the Last Dragon. I guess creds to Jasmine for being the only Disney princess to kiss the villain. That slimy, tall, long bean Jafario. The final battle isn't the greatest of all. There's just a bit of riffraff, street rat, until Jafar wishes to be a genie. I feel like the only high stake in this final battle is Jasmine being in a sand timer. Why'd that take me so long to produce that sentence? Obviously, Aladdin lost some of his morals in the middle, but only because he needed to learn that him being himself was good enough. But if he didn't realise that being himself was good enough, him and Jasmine wouldn't be together, let's just be completely honest. It is not an offensive watch, it's fun, it's more comedic than the other Disney princess films. It would have been better with a more intense final battle with a lot more stakes than Jasmine chewing on sand and a lot of pop culture references. A little bit more character development for the other characters beside Aladdin. But overall, it's a good watch. I watch it every now and then. I enjoy myself. Final scores. So, characters, 7 out of 10. Love the villain, love the protagonist, love Iago, love the magic carpet. And also we've got a monkey which doesn't talk but just goes, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." That was my same impression of the mice in Cinderella. That's better. That's a boo right there. I realised I didn't mention a boo at one point during that little analysis, review, critique, whatever you want to call it, but I like a boo. He's cute. Story is a 7 out of 10. I think it would have been higher if Jasmine was more of a protagonist. She's just a plot device, let's just be real. Songs are 8 out of 10 because they just slap. And the PL score is an 8 out of 10 just because I really like Jasmine. She stands on her own ground. She's very quick to be like, no. So that gives us an overall score of 7.5 out of 10. So as you can see, we're getting into like the really good ones now. So let's get on with number 5. I'm excited for number 5. Let's watch. So number 5, this is one of my favorite modern Disney princess films. There is one more ahead of this, but this was honestly one of my favorite movies when it first came out, and it is Tangled. The intro is a great showing of what everyone's intentions are at the beginning of the film. For the kingdom is to get Rapunzel back because she's been snatched. For Gothel is to keep Rapunzel hidden for her own benefit because, spoiler alert, Rapunzel, she has magic hair, which can keep Gothel very youthful because there's a magic flower which Gothel uses, but the queen gets sick, so the kingdom takes it. Gothel's like, what the f***, that was mine. So she steals Rapunzel instead because the flower's properties has gone into Rapunzel, and now when Rapunzel sings, her hair glows and she can heal and she can make people young again. For Rapunzel is to see the outside world because for 18 years of her life she has been trapped in a tower. We can see Flynn's intentions after the first song, which is to steal Rapunzel's crown, because he's a naughty boy. I love how the animals don't talk. We are on the topic of talking animals once again. Sometimes it works in films like Zootopia, because you can't watch Zootopia when the animals don't talk because they'd just be like squeaking and squeaking at each other and you'd be like, what the hell is going on? Pascal has such great screen presence without even saying a word. Like, he's doing like all these like sign language things. I'm like, slay for the ASL community. I don't know why I said that, but anyways, shout out to the ASL community. You all are banging people. When Will My Life Begin is not the best song in the soundtrack, but shows Rapunzel's wants and desires. And Rapunzel is stuck in the same routine and is craving more than her tower's walls. I wrote that. That is so poetic. Wow, I really need to start filming these videos in the morning. I've got so much energy. Gothel is a passive-aggressive and I love it. Mother Knows Best is not the best villain song because it's not truly like an evil song. But once you go back and watch the song again after you know the full arc of this villain, you pick up on things. Like at the beginning when she's like, you need to stay safe and sound here. She's not singing to Rapunzel, she's singing to Rapunzel's hair because that's all she cares about. She doesn't care about Rapunzel really, she cares about the hair. You can't really tell because it's in a French braid, but my hair is growing so long, they could have cast me as the live action Rapunzel. Am I excited for the live action Tangled to be coming out? No. Oh, I just hope it's a step up from the other live action films. If you don't know my problems with the live action remakes that Disney produces, go watch my other video. I love the running gag of Flynn's mugshot being printed everywhere and they just can't get my nose right. It's just like a funny thing. Like if they just did it once, I'd be like, eh. But because they continuously do it throughout the film, I'm like, I love the dynamic between Flynn and the horse Maximus as well. And then, even though they obviously hate each other, they just play off each other really well. And it's just like a nice arc from the horse wanting to kill Flynn to them actually being friends. It's kind of the same with Rapunzel and Flynn, like they go on this massive road trip because basically Rapunzel blackmails Flynn. But they grow to trust each other and fall in love with each other at the end. When Will My Life Begin reprise is actually quite good. I prefer this over the original. When Will My Life Begin song. I also like I've Got a Dream, the song. I think it just shows very well that these ruffians, they've all come from different backgrounds. They don't want to be ruffians forever. They've got their own dreams. They want to play the piano. They want to make miniature unicorns, bake, all that good stuff. It just gives them a softer side, because you think at the beginning they're gonna like beat everyone up, but really they're just softies in the end. This film has great action from the quarry escape to the prison escape. The only scene that lacks this kind of like oomph in action is the final battle, which for some reason is a thing with Disney. They do such good in between action scenes, but when it comes to the final battle, I'm disappointed. One thing I want to pick up on, after the quarry scene where, you know, they're trapped in a little cave thing and they're gonna drown, but they end up escaping, how does Rapunzel know how to swim if she's been trapped in a tower for 18 years? How does she know that she can't breathe underwater? Did Gothel just give her a book, be like, this is how you swim, just so you know, even though you're gonna never use that skill in your life? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know how she figured out how to swim, but, and especially with all that hair must have been like dragging her head back. Because sometimes when I've got really long hair and I'm swimming, I'm like, my hair is just everywhere. Where the hell am I going? I can't see. Hair apocalypse. Rapunzel and Flynn's heart-to-heart is very sweet, seeing them finally trust each other. This is also in the cave, nearly about to drown scene. Flynn says, my name's not actually Flynn, it's Eugene. And Rapunzel's like, I'll do you one better. My hair glows when I sing. The Mother Knows Best reprise is short, but once again, I prefer it over the original. I don't know what it is about this film and reprising songs, but it kind of works. It's just another gaslighting song, but instead of staying in the tower, Gothel is gaslighting Rapunzel about Flynn's true feelings for her. We don't like a gaslighter on this channel. I honestly think the Kingdom Dance scene is the best scene. The music, the visuals, the fact that it shows Rapunzel that Gothel is wrong. I can honestly say the Kingdom Dance music, I used to play that in college to keep me focused in doing my work, because if I didn't listen to songs like that, I wouldn't be getting any work done that day. I wish the King and Queen spoke. They literally have no lines. I think the King does a little chuckle, but the Queen literally says nothing at all. And that upsets me. And it's same with one of the Stabbington brothers. He doesn't speak as well. Come on. You could have hired someone to give like a little bit of dialogue. Like, there could have just been a scene with the King and Queen where they're just on Rapunzel's birthday, where they could have just been like, I miss her. Yes, I miss her too. We'll find her. I promise you. If it's the last thing I'll do, I'll find her. She will come back. You know, all of that? I wish we could have had something like that with the King and Queen, but they just don't speak. How am I supposed to get on board with Rapunzel reuniting with the King and Queen if they don't even speak? Tangled was Disney's 50th animated feature film and the first 3D animated Disney princess film. This film has a couple of flaws, but I'm still glad this is the 50th anniversary special film. Disney had a troubled history at the beginning of the 2000s/2010s with 3D animation films. Chicken Little. But Tangled was the stellar start to their stride with 3D animated films. Tangled always gets overshadowed by Frozen, which I'm very, very annoyed about. Do I prefer Frozen over Tangled? No. Tangled is such a better film, and I think I've said this before, I don't really understand the hype over Frozen. It's good, it's fun, it's just mostly annoying. The film is annoying, the merchandise was annoying, literally Frozen being plastered everywhere was annoying. I guess why, I understand why 5-year-olds like it, but I just prefer Tangled. I love Rapunzel, she's funny, she's a bit awkward, and she's stronger than she looks. I like how she's in touch with her emotions, especially the scene where she's just got out the tower and she's like going through this crisis of, I love this life and I'm an awful human being, I need to go back right now. I like how she changed Flynn, the thief, to Eugene, a caring person. I love the final transformation. Flynn cuts off Rapunzel's hair. but she cries her magical tears into Flynn because he is about to D-word, and Flynn is now reborn. But does this mean that Flynn now has the power of the flower, or was that the last of the flower's power? That's what I really want to know. And I wish they picked up on this in they did like a Tangled series on Disney Channel, and I wish they played into this like theory, like what happened when the magical tear went onto Flynn. Did it disintegrate into Flynn and that was the last of the power, or did Flynn get the power of the sunflower? One of my biggest issues with Tangled is, why did Flynn cut Rapunzel's hair that short? I'm being completely honest, Flynn, what the hell are you doing? Because it doesn't grow back. Yeah, I'm annoyed. So that was like pretty much my only critique of the film, pretty much. So let's get into the final scores. So we've got characters, 8 out of 10. Would have been a 10 if the king and queen actually spoke. Story is an 8 out of 10. I just enjoy it so much. It flows really nicely. Songs is 6 out of 10 just because I like the reprises of the 2 songs better than the original songs. The PL score, highest it's ever been for the PL score, 9 out of 10. That gives an overall of 7.75 out of 10. This absolutely slaps. Bye! So we are getting into number 4. We're nearly at the end! So number 4 is Mulan. I like the opening scene. It's a great way to show the stakes and the goals for the film. And it's very dark. It's a very dark opening. Probably one of the darkest Disney princess openings I have seen. Honor to Us All shows what is expected for a Chinese woman, but also shows that all Mulan wants to do is not disappoint her family. It's very relatable, I feel like, because I always have, I feel like that sometimes, like I always have high expectations for myself, but it's not really for myself, it's like for my family. I just want to do well to show my family that I'm not a slump. And how's that working? I'm still working in hospitality. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I've got a degree in makeup. How does that help me in hospitality? It doesn't. The main theme for the film is bringing honour to the family and to the ancestors for Mulan. The events of the matchmaker scene wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that stupid cricket. Then again, if there wasn't a stupid cricket in the mix, the film wouldn't have happened. Reflection shows Mulan's struggles with choosing between her true self and what her family wants her to be, and what society wants her to be.
We live in a society.
I just wish the song was a bit longer, because I like the song. I know Eddie Murphy did Mulan before he did Shrek, but because I probably watched Shrek before I did Mulan when I was little, whenever I see Mushu on screen, all I think about is donkey. Every time I hear Eddie Murphy in general, that's all I can hear. Donkey. Maybe I should do a video about Shrek. I really want to do that. Honestly, the ancestors bickering can feel very relatable for most families, although I don't like the cross-dresser reference. I feel it could have been played out a bit different. I like Mulan and Mushu's dynamic. Shout out to Dishonor on Your Cow. I'll Make a Man Out of You is a great song. It shows Mulan's warrior progression from not knowing what she's doing to actually being respected by her campmates and Shang. I also like this song and Honor to Us All, trending on TikTok, showing the strength of both women and the world's different cultures. Like, I see a lot of like YouTuber TikTok edits to this song, and at first it shows like all the controversial YouTubers out there, and then when it goes into the Destiny, God our girls, it shows all the like unproblematic YouTubers and we need to protect them with our lives. But also I like the edits where it's like AI is taking over the world, but then it progresses into actual art, because who likes AI? No one, apart from freaking weirdos. And we don't need to listen to the weirdos. We can make art of our own. I hate AI. I could make a whole video on how much I hate AI, but yeah, that's a different topic for another day. I like A Girl Worth Fighting For because you think at the beginning it's just like a cheery, catchy song where all the men want to do is fight for a woman. And then it cuts to the destroyed village and the death of Shang's dad. I really like the bit where Mulan finds the little doll from the little girl, and it kind of feels like that little girl that's obviously perished in this attack by the Huns it feels like that little girl is the girl that Mulan is fighting for, which is just really sweet, and it's so, oh my, it makes me emotional. I think I actually cried at that point. Honestly, when they get to like the avalanche mountain Hun fighting scene, it's honestly great visuals, great animation, really like it. That scene also shows Mulan's great creativity and ingenuity, which something that obviously the army has not seen before, but it actually really works. But unfortunately, this leads to Mulan being found out that she is a woman, because what I forgot to mention is Mulan dresses up as a man to fight in the army because women can't fight. Mulan showed them. Even after Mulan is discovered to be a woman, she's still struggling with her identity. Is she a girl making her family proud? It only really concludes when, at the end of the film, when Mulan returns home, when her father says his greatest gift is having Mulan as his daughter. Took me right in the heartstrings, innit? And Mulan finally coming to terms with who she is and how she can be herself and still make her family proud. The final battle is great with action and shows everything Mulan has learned throughout the entire film, not only from being a warrior in the camp, but also coming to terms with being herself and how creative she is and her ingenious mind. I like how Mulan and Shang don't necessarily end up together. They do end up together in the direct-to-DVD sequels, I believe, but we're not going to count that because they're direct-to-DVD sequels. No, no, no. And I obviously like how Mulan is like the only Disney princess there's not actually royalty, but she does make the qualifications by saving the whole of China, because one of the qualifications is doing a heroic act. I wish we could have seen more of Mulan's personality before the matchmaker and before the army, so we could truly see her identity crisis and her struggles with the family honour. So with that, let's get into the final rankings. So characters, we've got 8 out of 10, story 8 out of 10, songs 7 out of 10. There's not really a lot of songs in Mulan, but I'm not gonna complain. And then the PL score is also a 9 out of 10. So that gives us an overall 8 out of 10 for Mulan. So we're in the top 3. Oh my god, I've got too much energy. I haven't had a coffee yet, and I've already got this much energy. Is that a bit scary? Maybe. So number 3, we have Moana. Moana has the same score as Mulan, spoiler alert, but I prefer Moana over Mulan personally. Shall I have a hydration break count throughout this whole thing? I have taken so much water in the past like hour or so, however long I've been filming. The opening story sets the plot well, the film's intentions, and a good introduction to some key characters such as Te-Fiti, Maui, and Te-Kā. And it also has like little references to the other little beasts and trials that Moana is gonna have to face throughout the film. I also like the artwork in the opening scene, because it's basically like all the tapestries that the grandmother is using to teach the little kids in Moana about the history of the islands and Motunui. I think the song is called Where You Are, but is it called Where You Are? I think it's called Where You Are. I like how at first Moana is always wanting to go to the sea and doesn't want to become chief. Because who wants that? Who wants responsibility? I don't. She feels her grandma is the only person she could be herself around and the only person that really understands where Moana is coming from. But as she gets older, she fits more into the chief's daughter position because she just wants to make her parents happy. Boo! But there's also still a part of her that wants to go to the sea. That urge has not died completely. Honestly, Where You Are is what Brave wishes it could be. I hate Brave. I hate that freaking bear film with a burning passion. Also, I like the line, consider the coconut. How about you consider the coconut and f*** off? I like Hey Hey. 1, he doesn't speak. 2, he reminds me of Gerald from Finding Dory. It's just like, they both just look like this all the time and they're just a bit wackadoodle, and I like that. You think Moana's dad is being too hard on the rule of no going beyond the reef, and then you hear why. Because his brother died when they went out on a little voyage. It's understandable, but you're being a bit too hard with it. How Far I'll Go is a good I Want song, but it also shows a mixed struggle in Moana. Does she go to the sea? Does she follow her dreams? Does she stay at home and be what the village needs her to be? But if she stays, then everything's gonna die. Basically, Takar is spreading black mold towards all the islands, and we don't stand with black mold. It's really hard to clean. Moana goes onto a boat with no sailing experience and nearly drowns and kills her pig. Dum dum. I really love the grandma. Too bad she dies. We need more grandma scenes. I love grandmas. I love my grandparents. They're really cool. They're really slay. Stop saying slay. Moana learns about her ancestors being voyagers and gets an answer why she's always craved to be on the ocean. Because her ancestors are basically saying go out to the sea. We know the way had me head popping. We know the way. Now the ocean chooses Moana to save Te Fiti. She has a reason to explore the ocean. She needs to find Maui. She needs to bring the heart to Maui. Maui needs to deliver the heart to Takar. Or Te Fiti. Sorry, spoilers. Takar is actually Te Fiti. It's basically like a twist protagonist. It's not a twist villain. We don't like twist villains, but we do like twist within the villain. I'm not usually a fan of The Rock. I'm not even gonna lie. Most of his films are just bleh. But I don't think he's completely insufferable in Moana as Maui. Insufferable in some points. He's just, the character itself is just very arrogant, and that's how I think The Rock is in person. Just catch me with a DM from The Rock saying, take this video down. I just can't enjoy the song You're Welcome. But I will say I like the animation for the song. That's the only good thing about it. The Kakamora, is it Kakamora? Kakamora. The Kakamora ambush is pretty fun because they're just little coconuts and you think they're cute and cuddly and then they just turn out to be vicious assholes. I don't like how at first Maui's dialogue is just a bunch of pop culture references. Like they definitely had to get The Rock eyebrow in there. And he's basically just mocking the Disney princess formula. Like you can't be in a Disney princess film and just mock everything about it. And Moana even says, I'm not a princess, I'm just a chief's daughter. Tamatoa is hilarious and I love the Shiny song. How could I not? Shiny! Every time I clean my car, I'm thinking, it's so shiny. I like Maui's heart-to-heart and backstory about how basically his mum didn't want him. So he becomes this demigod to try and get some love and affection from the people. That kind of love and affection that he couldn't get from his mum. I like how Moana and Maui turn from enemies to friends instead of enemies to lovers. I'm so glad there's no romance in this film. I like how after the first battle with Takar, it knocks both Moana's and Maui's confidence, which leads to a falling out and Maui leaves Moana and you think, oh my god, this is the end. But no, they come back together, they work as a team, they trust each other, they have a good friendship to work through it, and Takar is actually Te Fiti, and it's not Maui that returns the heart to Te Fiti, it's Moana. Moana goes home, everything's saved, yay! So let's get to the final rankings. So characters, we've got 8 out of 10, story 8 out of 10, songs 7 out of 10, and the PL score is also a 9 out of 10, which gives an overall score of 8 out of 10, same as Mulan, but it's a little bit higher in my opinion. I had a hard time deciding between number 2 and number 1 because number 2 was my Disney princess film. Every person has a Disney princess film, the one that they grew up with, and honestly I love number 2 so bad, but I know in a general aspect number 1 is a bit better. If I was just going on my nostalgia syndrome, number 2 would actually be number 1, but I've got to be fair with all the Disney princess films. So number 2 is The Little Mermaid. And let's just go on a tangent here. My 2 favourite films from ever since I was small was The Little Mermaid and Finding Nemo. I just have such love for films that are based in the ocean. I think it was just because I was a really big fan of the ocean. I love swimming. I love swimming in the ocean. I love swimming in pools. I used to love it. I used to swim when I was a kid. And it's one of the things that I regret quitting. My mum likes to think that if I didn't quit swimming, I could have been an Olympian. I was good, but I wasn't that good, Mum. Let's just put put that in the world. I wasn't Olympic good swimmer, but I was a pretty good swimmer. Let's just put it at that. Imagine if I didn't quit swimming and I became an Olympian. Too much chlorine damage, I think. The Little Mermaid has a very near and dear segment of my heart. Everyone has like a little plushie or teddy that they grew up with. Mine was a little Ariel doll, which I got from Disney World. And I still have it. I don't have it in the spot here, but it is at home in York, and my Ariel doll has a specific placement in my room where everyone can see it. I just love this film so much. Oh, I love the opening, seeing the underwater landscapes and Atlantica for the first time. Oh, it's just ethereal, what can I say? Along with the Part of Your World orchestra / choir, it's just a spectacular opening. Ariel is a great protagonist. She's beautiful, she's funny, and has a curious personality. All you could want in a Disney princess. The shark chase is pretty fun. It's a good first action sequence in the film. The sidekicks all add their own element. Scuttle has physical comedy, Sebastian has verbal comedy, and then Flounder is like the loyal companion for Ariel. So they've got physical comedy, verbal comedy, loyalty. It's a great dynamic just between all three of them. Just the three of them alone is a great dynamic they have together. And you're thinking, I've critiqued so much about the talking animals, but it works in Little Mermaid because they actually add, the talking animals all add something to the plot. Sebastian is Ariel's like on land guide when she turns into a human. Flounder is her loyal companion who's always there by her side when she's in the water. And then Scuttle, you think he has like not really any plot relevance at the beginning, even though Scuttle is basically a liar about all these objects that that Ariel brings him. He does fuel her curiosity, personality, and he also is a big help in the final battle, which we'll get onto later. Ursula is so evil, and I love it. I love how we see her true intentions before the protagonist does. She may be the key to Triton's undoing. I'm like, yes! Ursula, you've got me wrapped up in those tentacles. I love King Triton. He is a lovely character development for this film. He goes from like this really angry ruler, father figure to Ariel to actually caring about his daughter's actual wishes in life. Let's get into one quote which I see about The Little Mermaid all the time online. She had to give up her voice for a man. First of all, Ariel already had a desire to being human or to just exploring the world above her. Like that, I don't think that would have changed if Eric wasn't in the picture. Eric is just a plot point. He's just another desire. He's just a separate desire for Ariel. And it was only after Triton destroyed her collection that she went to Ursula to make the deal to become human. So really, it's all Daddy's fault. Part of Your World is emotional and charming. I love it. And it's a brilliant I Want song. She just wants more than fins and sea and salt. There's more to life than salt! And including the reprise as well, where she's on the rock. It's a beautiful sequence and you cannot deny it. I also love the Under the Sea song. I love the calypso style that they were going for with the animation and the visuals. The film is well placed and the betrayal trope is so good because Ariel's thinking, I can bag this man and stay human forever. No, Ursula's got other plans. She is a conniving little woman. But there's also betrayal with Triton destroying Ariel's collection. There's a betrayal aspect in that. The first half of Poor Unfortunate Souls is a bit of a slow burner, but the end is so good where she's like throwing all the potions and she's like, Poor Unfortunate Souls! It's such a good villain song. It's a slow burner song, but it's such a good villain song. I like how, I like the development between Ariel's and Eric's relationship. I think it's pretty good. Excuse me, can you not email me? I am trying to make a video here. Le Poisson is obviously the weakest song of the soundtrack. But the constant fight between Sebastian and Louis is funny, and it's a funny running gag. that not only goes throughout this film, but also the direct DVD sequel, which I find pretty funny. I love Kiss the Girl in this because it starts off with like Scuttle being like an annoying little and then Sebastian's like, fine, you just want me to do it myself. Stalling the wedding is a good last bit of comedy, but also a last bit of action before the main battle. And this is what I was talking about with Scuttle finally coming into being more helpful with the plot. Yeah, it's just a bit of like pre-conflict comedy, and I find it pretty funny. The final battle is quite good, from Trident's sacrifice to Eric impaling Ursula with a full-on ship. The final scene had me in tears, mostly because of the Part of Your World reprise, along with Ariel saying goodbye to what she knows to explore the world that she desperately craved to be a part of. Now they can stay all day in the sun. Oh, this film is one of the pinnacles of my childhood. I cannot say that enough. Oh, so obviously I'm just gonna have to rate it high. Thinking about it now just has me in tears because I just have such connection with this film you don't even know. So let's just get into the rankings before I actually start crying. I will. So characters, we've got a 9 out of 10. Story is an 8 out of 10, so is the songs 8 out of 10, and the PL score is a 9 out of 10, which gives an overall score of 8.5 out of 10. So we are finally on to number 1. We've made it to the end of the list, guys. We've got number 1, and if you know all of the Disney princesses, you know what is coming. Number 1 is Beauty and the Beast. If I was going fully on personal bias, Little Mermaid would be number 1, but I can't deny that Beauty and the Beast is a great film. I feel like out of the Disney princesses, The Little Mermaid is the magnum opus, but the Beauty and the Beast film is top notch, top tier, number 1 on the list. So let's just get into it. The beginning story of the Beast, although beautifully designed, reminds me of a PowerPoint presentation. Belle is a great introductory song to introduce us to all of the characters, minus the talking furniture and the Beast. There's Belle, a beautiful new maiden in town who wants more in life. There's the village who's trying to figure out, and Gaston, whose only goal is to marry her. He wants a bit of that French bum. I've run out of water. That's not gonna be good. As much as I hate the talking furniture in the live action remake, I really like the talking furniture in the original. They're just so captivating, especially Lumiere and Cogsworth. The Belle reprise is beautiful where she's running up that hill. I haven't watched Stranger Things yet, by the way. I'm still, I watched up to season 3 and stopped watching it, so no spoilers please. Belle is so selfless, giving up her entire life just to save her father, who's basically on the brink of death, and also giving up her freedom and everything she wanted just to save him. Selfless! The song Gaston is not your traditional villain song. The village sing it to fuel Gaston's arrogance and build his confidence even more. Something he just didn't need because he's already an egotistical, arrogant, selfish boy. I hate how Gaston and the village gaslight Maurice. Like, leave the man alone. Our guest is so catchy and has splendid visuals. Belle and the Beast relationship obviously didn't start off very well, but the whole wolf scene changes their dynamic a bit more. That scene shows the Beast's true nature and what he really wants to be. Then we get the wasn't there before montage / song, which shows them both changing. Belle changes to care about this Beast that she hated from the beginning, and the Beast changes into a more caring character. Also, the wolf scene shows Belle's selflessness again, because she could have easily just left the Beast in the snow to D-word, but no, she takes him back to the castle and takes care of him when she really didn't need to do that, because the Beast at the beginning is he's a nasty boy. The dance scene is the pinnacle of this movie. In hell. Are you okay? Are you fine? I hope you're fine. Oh, I just pulled on like all my wires because they're all tangled and my camera just went whoosh. But then it turns into the Beast letting Belle go to save Maurice because he's going to the nut house. And this is like the highest point of his growth development. showing that he can love for others. His act obviously comes with his own consequence, which is letting Belle go, which means they can't fall in love properly, and he's just gonna stay a beast forever. Kill the Beast is a great climax starter song. We can see that Gaston's ego and arrogance turns to jealousy of Belle's feelings for the Beast, setting Gaston off to go kill the Beast, turning from just like an egotistical side character to the actual villain. The Beast could have chose to D-word Gaston, but because of his growth development, he spares Gaston and lets him go. But that was a mistake because Gaston stabs the Beast. But with that comes the final arc of Gaston. His arrogance kills him, basically. Gaston lets his arrogance take over, stabs the Beast, but it leads him to fall off a cliff and D-word. I love the final transformation scene. From the final transformation of the Beast, he turns back into a human. Belle and the Beast kiss and it's all magical, and then the furniture turn into people again. Like, what is not to enjoy about that? The visuals alone, like especially the Beast transformation with like the glowing fingers, it kind of reminds me of Fiona's transformation in Shrek, but done better. As if I'm comparing Beauty and the Beast to Shrek. Yeah, my only critique of Beauty and the Beast is the final dance scene, which they basically just copied from Sleeping Beauty. If you know the lore, you know the lore. That is pretty much the end of Beauty and the Beast. They dance, they live, they kiss. It's beautiful. Beauty and the Beast is honestly one of the best films that Disney has ever produced, along with The Lion King. The Lion King is the best Disney film, and Beauty and the Beast is the best Disney princess film. So yeah, that is pretty much Beauty and the Beast. Let's get to the scores. We've got characters, 8 out of 10, story, 8 out of 10, songs, big fat 10 out of 10, and the PL score is 9 out of 10, which gives us an overall score of 8.75 out of 10, the highest on the list and #1 in my Disney Princess ranking. So that is the end of my ranking of the Disney Princess films. I apologise that part 2 came out so much later than part 1. I honestly enjoyed the Disney Princess films overall. There are obviously a couple of stinkers. Brave. The golden age of Disney was when they were doing the Disney Renaissance Disney Princess films. That's why most of the Disney Renaissance Disney Princesses are so high, minus Pocahontas. But even some of their modern Disney Princess films still live up. We've got Moana and Tangled up there in the top notches, and we can't forget about the original Disney princesses. Even though I rank them low, they are still pretty good films. This video done, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, please give it a like, please give it a subscribe. If you agree with my list or you have a different opinion, please feel free to comment down below and give your thoughts. I will link all my socials down below and at the end of this video. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna end this here. Bye.